What's the largest city in the Pacific Northwest? We'll give you a couple of hints. It's surrounded by water, mountains, and beautiful forests. It's where tech companies like Microsoft and Amazon call home to raking in billions per year by making our lives way too easy. It's home to one of the most iconic landmarks, the Space Needle. It's where Howard Schultz found a little coffee shop named Starbucks and said, "You know what? I too want to make billions of dollars out of this city." Get out your raincoat, strap on your Birkenstocks, and put some cream cheese on your hot dog because we're going to Seattle, Washington. Today, we have the absolute most perfect sponsor for our Seattle video. Because of the rain, hiking, and just all around keeping your feet dry goodness, you'll need to grab a pair of Vessi shoes. And we're not just gonna sit here and talk about them. I'm gonna take mine off right now. Look at these. I'm gonna convince you single-handedly why these are the perfect waterproof everyday shoe for your trip. And I know what you're saying. Jacob, don't you mean water resistant? I appreciate your concern, but no. These straight up don't let water go through the material. It's incredible. Rain, snow, mud, or slush, there really isn't much you can't wear these shoes in. So what do they feel like? They have this sort of hugging action on your foot that feels like a sock. So almost like you're not wearing anything at all.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
They're also really lightweight. We kind of liken them to Tony Stark putting on the Iron Man suit. But you know, if it was just for feet. That's a pretty accurate description. Yeah, it kind of feels like that. They do it all by using this material they call Dymatex, which not only keeps out the water, but regulates temperature so your feet stay warm in the winter and cool in the summer. So basically perfect for that Seattle freeze. So make your way over to Vessi.com and use our code VentureAddicts in the description below to get a whole $25 off your next pair. But get them quick if you're on the fence. The demand is so crazy for these shoes, especially the limited edition colors, that we don't want you to miss out on your size and style. Take it from us. We think we found the ultimate travel shoe. Get your pair by clicking the link in the description below. So, Jacob here. Welcome to Destinations Explained, a fun series we do that dives into destinations from around the world. If you've watched before, welcome back. And if you're new here, it's great to have you. If you haven't already, like this video, watch till the end, and comment down below any places we may have missed. Here we go. Seattle was built on indigenous land, the traditional territory of the Salish peoples, specifically the Suquamish and the Duwamish tribes. They lived in the region for thousands of years before the arrival of Europeans and developed extensive trade along with a deep knowledge of the land and sea and continued to live here till this day. White settlers doing what white settlers do came to the Seattle area in 1851 and established a town site. They soon moved a short distance across Elliott Bay to what is now the historic Pioneer Square District. This village was soon named Seattle, honoring the Duwamish Indian leader's name. As always, the spawning of expanding railroad systems benefited the city's growth, and by the late 1800s, lumber and coal were the primary industries. But the Seattle area is more than a vast land of endless trees and fuel rocks. Being surrounded by water, the growth of fishing was imminent, and by the start of the 20th century, Seattle was wrecking shop as a top trade and shipping center. Today, Seattle continues to be the global economic powerhouse thanks in large part to its status as one of the world's top centers for high-tech manufacturing and internet-based trade. The city and surrounding area itself is a damp green gem with an abundance of evergreen trees throughout and spectacular views of the Cascade Mountains to the east and the Olympic Mountains to the west. The metropolitan area as a whole is home to Microsoft, Amazon, Costco, Nintendo of America, Starbucks, and T-Mobile, as well as a vibrant arts and music scene and an excellent park system. It's the most northern major city in the United States, but the weather in Seattle may not be what you expect, except that it's overcast like 80% of the year. Everyone knows that. Anyway, summer temperatures average an amazing high of 77 degrees Fahrenheit to a low average of 57 degrees Fahrenheit, while winter temperatures average a high of 48 degrees Fahrenheit to a low average of 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Seattle has a population of just over 700,000 people, making it the largest city in the Pacific Northwest, and a metropolitan of over 4 million, ranking 15th overall in the whole United States. So, enough with all that boring stuff. Let's move on to that sweet touristy stuff that mom's always begging for pictures for. Calling all aircraft enthusiasts. Did you ever run around a house with a model airplane making the brrrr noise as a kid? Well, if you did, you're in luck. Because now you can do that as a full-grown adult in the world's largest independent non-profit air museum, the Seattle Museum of Flight. Seattle may be known for its grunge music and coffee, but this 4 million person metropolis is also a vibrant center of aircraft manufacturing, with the Museum of Flight showing aviation's fascinating history. This magnificent institution is one of the world's largest air and space museums, with a vast collection spanning time and space. A life-size tour of the museum's mission is one of the museum's highlights. To high-flying adventures to out-of-this-world attractions, there's something here for everyone. The Boeing factory, another museum up north, might be considered a sibling of the Museum of Flight. The facility offers a guided tour, a lower-level space tour, and a sky deck with live ATC audio and a view of the complete airport facilities. Grab a sack of quarters because we're settling the score at the Seattle Pinball Museum. The sweet memories of playing 3D Pinball Space Cadet may be an ancient memory, but it's time to crack your knuckles and dive back in. In late August 2010, the Seattle Pinball Museum opened its doors. The idea was to use vintage pinball machines as an interactive kinetic art display. Over the last years, there's been an explosion in Seattle pinball, bringing a game that many thought was dead, drowned in the shadow of video games, back to colorful, flashing, boisterous life. But the culture of playing pinball lies throughout the whole city, with an estimate amount of around 500 pinball machines scattered all around the city. So it's safe to say that they take their pinball pretty seriously here. With more than a century of history, our next stop is the oldest continuously operated farmers market in the country and one of Seattle's most popular draws, Pike Place Market. Back in the day, farmers were unable to recuperate their costs at a time when produce prices were skyrocketing, and the market was a means to connect producers directly with the public, cutting out the middleman and creating a community that has since exploded in popularity. Fun fact, in 1971, the world's first Starbucks coffee shop opened at Pike Place Market, and it's still located there with its original design and feel. The world famous chowder is one thing you do not want to miss at the Pike Place Market. Since founder Larry Mellum initially opened his doors in 2003, Pike Place Chowder has served more than 3 million bowls of chowder. And of course, we can't forget Pike Place Fish Market, where you could take a few live action shots of fresh catch being tossed across the stand. Next door is a hidden work of art called the Gum Wall, or the Wall of Gum, which can be found down an extraordinary alleyway. The striking and bright show of colors of gum may be gross, but we believe it captures Seattle's distinct charm and personality. No itinerary would be complete without a Seattle Ferry day trip. The ferry network here sets Seattle far apart from other cities, and they're as much about the journey as they are the destination. As you float away from the city, you'll have an uninterrupted view of the Seattle skyline. As you sail, you'll catch a glimpse of the Olympic Mountains. As you dock, you'll find yourself in a new town of your choosing. Today, we're going to recommend the ferry to Bremerton, a nice town to stop in for restaurants and shopping. Here's a local Redditor describing the logistics. Here's how you do it. From First and Marion, located downtown, find a footpath that's right next to the Starbucks there. It takes you directly to the ferry terminal. Walk to the end of the terminal to buy tickets. Follow the crowd onto the ferry and go exploring. There are multiple floors and it's fun to be both at water level and as high as you can get. On the other side, walk off and spend an hour or more doing whatever. There are shops and restaurants. Then, when it's time to head back, walk back to the ferry. Walking passengers do not pay for the return trip. So, just pop some Dramamine and bring some cash, and we'll guarantee that you'll have a memorable day trip. Seattle is home to one of the world's most renowned blown glass artists, Theo Chihuly, and you'll have a chance to be amazed by it at Chihuly Garden and Glass. Right next to the Space Needle, the long-term exhibition, which has been open since 2012, features a glass house, an exhibition hall with 8 galleries and 3 painting walls. There's also a lush garden with glass sculptures in unimaginable shapes and unbelievably beautiful colors. Chihuly Garden and Glass will undoubtedly provide a pop of inspiration to your day if Seattle's infamous cloudy skies have left you feeling washed out. You can get your tickets as a combo package with the Space Needle since they're right next to each other, which is incredibly convenient if you want to spend your whole day there doing multiple things. From this vantage point on Queen Anne Hill, you'll get a spectacular view of the Space Needle, the downtown skyline, and Mount Rainier. Welcome to the extremely special Kerry Park. Seattle is a very photogenic city because of its waterfront position, high-rise architecture, and the majestic snow-capped peak of Mount Rainier. So, grab your camera and head to Kerry Park for some spectacular views of the city and its environs. Kerry Park is a charming location in and of itself. This little green park of slightly over an acre is popular with dog walkers and parents wheeling strollers. A playground, park seats, and a modern sculpture called Changing Form are among the park's attractions. Everyone knows this spot, so you'll have a better chance of missing the crowds if you go during the day, but then you don't get the sunset views that so many people chase when visiting Seattle. So, pick your poison. Before we move on, let's do as we always do and bring on an actual local and get some of that sweet insider suggestions. Today, we have Judy and Tashar from Voodoo Booze on Instagram. So, let's see what they have to recommend. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. We are on the tourist section in the beginning of the video, and before we move on, I just want to get a few more places to help us out. Do you have any?
Yeah, we have a couple of places that we thought were really great about Seattle. First, there's the Underground Tour. It's called Bill Speidels Underground Tour. It's right in Pioneer Square in downtown Seattle. And what I really love about this place is that all of the tour guides are super good presenters. They're really funny and they're actually very knowledgeable. The whole tour surrounds kind of Seattle's history about how it actually is a sinking city, where a lot of the underground of it used to be above ground and it's just sunk due to the nature of the geography of the place. And so the Underground Tour kind of tells you all about those stories of why it happened, how people first got to Seattle. And the best part is honestly just the tour guides themselves. They are such experts in what they do. It's hilarious. I love it.
All right, that place sounds awesome. Do you have one more suggestion for us?
The next place I'd literally like to talk about is called the Northwest Outdoor Center. My girlfriend Judy and I, we really love kayaking and paddleboarding and all that naturey stuff. And so the best thing about being able to do that in South Lake Union itself is that you have tons of really awesome backdrops. So if you're into photos, on one side, on the northern side, you can see Gasworks Park, which is a super cool park with all of those old construction, or not construction, but like gas pipeline equipment. And it just makes a fantastic backdrop. And then on the other side, on the southern side, you get the entire panorama of the skyline and the Space Needle, and it just ends up being super beautiful. And you can do all kinds of things like single kayaks, double kayaks, and stand-up paddleboarding, which is super cool because you can have the water kind of pass over your feet as you're going along it. So if you don't want to get super wet, that's also a really good option. Just don't fall. And they even have a cool opportunity where you can do the hot tubs inside a boat. And they have like basically a small boat that's a hot tub itself. And you can have like 5 to 10 people be in like a nice warm jacuzzi kind of thing while you're cruising along in that area. So that's a fantastic experience. Highly recommend it.
All right. Thanks again for those 2 amazing suggestions. I guess I'll talk to you in a little bit.
All right. Thanks, Jake. See you.
Don't forget to follow @FoodooBooze on Instagram to help plan your trip. Link in the description down below. Maybe it's a cliche, but when we think of Seattle, do you not think of hiking? Someone correct me if we're wrong, but is it or is it not required by law to hike at least 4.5 miles a day in Seattle as a resident? Either way, welcome to the nature section. Named after Mount Olympus and thought to be a suitable location for gods to settle, our first nature and recreational spot is the Olympic National Park. Located a few hours west of Seattle, it's a must-see tourist destination with its blend of brilliant peaks, lush rainforests, and a stretch of untamed beaches, all housed on a peninsula across the water from Seattle. There's a lot of animals to see, and they're not afraid of tourists. They freely roam and are an incredible sight to see, and you never know, you might even encounter a bear or two. I'm joking, of course. Or am I? Anyway, here's a few specific spots we need to highlight. Looking for a day hike for the whole family? Check out Hurricane Hill via Hurricane Ridge. This 3.4-mile out and back trail offers views of the steep Bailey Range to the south, which is usually covered with snow far into the summer, and is worth the trip in itself. The town of Port Angeles and the Wanda Fuca are just to the north, and Vancouver Island is visible across the sea. On the Olympic Peninsula sits one of the most popular waterfalls in Washington, Marymere Falls. The 1.7-mile out and back trail is well kept and quite flat until the end, when you reach a series of nature stairs leading to the falls. Honestly, when it comes to this park, the possibilities are endless. And there's a reason why around 3 million people visit this park every year. If you're into botanical gardens, boating, bird watching, and just being zen out of your mind, then this next place is for you. Washington Park Arboretum. This 230-acre park offers miles of trails that wind through forests of maples, magnolias, oaks, and more. Visit the Pacific Connections Gardens to see a variety of plant life from various countries that border the Pacific Ocean. Or lose yourself in the Japanese garden in the southwest corner. The Arboretum is well known for Azalea Way in the springtime, a stretch of the park which offers a unique tapestry of azaleas of many colors. We'd recommend hiking the loop, where you'll essentially see everything in a 3-mile trek. As always, helpful links and other information can be found down in the description below. One of Seattle's prized possessions and a fantastic spot to watch the sunset over the Olympics is none other than Discovery Park. Discovery Park is Seattle's largest park, with a variety of green spaces, natural shoreline, and paved and unpaved pathways. This park has something for everyone, whether you want to go hiking, have a picnic, or just rest on the beach. It's difficult not to find something to do in this 534-acre site. While other parks are well kept, with black tops and playgrounds, Discovery Park has a more naturey feel. Because Discovery Park is also one of Seattle's most natural areas, wildlife still frequents it on a regular basis. One of the park's most highlighted trails has to be the Lighthouse Loop Trail. You can't miss this one. This loop trail is roughly 4 miles round trip. Many people make a point of seeing the West Point Lighthouse, which is located on the park's far side. The lighthouse isn't massive and intimidating, but rather charming, cute, and highly gorgeous against the backdrop of the mountains and the views of the Puget Sound. Woodsy trails, overcast skies, and a lighthouse, that's about as PNW as it gets. Up next, this 136-acre park is mostly a large beach area with views of Seattle and all of the passing ferries, freights, and fishing boats. Alki Beach Park. Most of the beaches on the Puget Sound are covered in rock and shells, but on Alki, you can get the sand between your toes, get some exercise, and take in a great view of the city skyline. Get a workout from the kayaks and stand-up paddleboards available to rent, or take advantage of the flat, well-maintained path and sidewalk, roughly 2.5 miles in length. On a strip of the beach park, there are some wonderful, modest local restaurants as well. Fun fact, this was the first public saltwater bathing beach on the West Coast in the United States. So do whatever you'd like with that fact. Along Lake Washington, this hidden gem of a park is a must-see. Although parking can be difficult on the weekends, Denny Blaine Park is more than worth it. It takes up 2 acres of land and includes a small beach along with a vast grassy area, a picnic table, and a volleyball pit for those who choose to use it. It offers a great view of the lake and attracts many people every day. Maybe don't bring the kids to this spot though, because nudity is common here, and it's where the naked and clothed coexist. If Denny Blaine sounds familiar, it may be due to the death of Kurt Cobain in 1994, who resided on Lake Washington Boulevard East in Denny Blaine. Sorry to bring that up, we just found it pretty interesting. And our last nature spot is a fantastic area to stretch your legs or learn how to hike for the first time, and for individuals who don't want to travel too far from the city, at Rattlesnake Mountain Scenic Area. Located just 30 miles east of Seattle, near North Bend, the Rattlesnake Mountain Scenic Area is a mountainous ridge along Interstate 90 that offers some of the most scenic hiking in the Cascade foothills. For our real hikers, you'll need to venture the Rattlesnake Ledge Trail, a 5.3-mile out-and-back trail with about 1,500 feet in elevation gain. But you'll be rewarded with an unbelievable view of Rattlesnake Lake and miles of lush trees and mountains. After that, hit up Rattlesnake Lake Trail. It's a simple flat track for a great post-hike walk to cool down. Or you could even take a plunge into the lake, but be aware that the water is very chilly. But come on, if you already did that hike, you pretty much have to jump in at this point. Alright, here we are. Welcome to the food section, where we'll discuss all of Seattle's finest provisions for whatever your taste buds are needing at the moment. We'll start out with Seattle's landmark fine dining establishment of 70 years, Canlis. Canlis is a must-visit for anybody interested in Pacific Northwest cuisine. What the hell is Pacific Northwest cuisine, you probably just said? Common ingredients include salmon, shellfish, and other fresh seafood. Game meats such as moose, elk, or caribou too. Have we sold you yet? Well, how about spending hundreds of dollars on this? Luckily, we have Canlis. When in Seattle, some believe this place is worth every penny. especially for special occasions. Be ready to dress up nice because every aspect of this place screams fine dining. The clothing, the food presentation, the decor, everything is on point. As of now, the full 4-course dinner experience will start at $165 and include things like Dungeness crab, shaved wagyu, and smoked cacao nougatine. It's also a wine lover's paradise, so maybe up that $165 by a bit. Rachel Yang's Korean Fusion Steakhouse remains one of Seattle's truly electrifying culinary adventures. Joule, a contemporary Korean steakhouse serving non-traditional cuts of beef with a beautiful blend of Korean flavors. Served with sides like rice cakes with greens and chorizo, or Chinese broccoli with walnut pesto. This restaurant serves simple, polished dishes such as delicate twist on green curry mackerel and a legendary Kalbi short rib over grilled kimchi, which helped Yang win a James Beard Award nomination in 2020. We definitely recommend that you stay away from your typical preferences and try things you've never seen before. Maybe it's the octopus or the spicy rice cakes. Your experience here will go through the roof, we promise. Up next, we have a sandwich shop with combinations that actually feel unique, rather than just a pileup of increasingly crazy meats. Mean Sandwich. This spot will make you question whether you've had a real sandwich. Move over Arby's because the signature Mean Sandwich, where the restaurant gets its name, has fat hunks of corned beef, mustard, pickled red cabbage, and an unexpected gust of mint. Also, the skins and ends come with it, which is fried chunks of baked potato instead of fries. Sandwiches are around $15 to $17 a piece, plus tax, which we think is a pretty good deal for just how damn good these sandwiches are. Any local knows that when the sun sets and a huge orange sign calls, nothing beats a Dick's Deluxe from Dick's Drive-In. The 2 small, never frozen patties on fresh, locally baked buns with cheese, lettuce, mayo, and relish just add to the flavor of Dick's fueled nostalgia, often cut by disappointment in their soggy fries and the ketchup upcharge. But for some, it's totally worth it, especially our Dairy Queen lovers out there who like their greasy cut potatoes as flaccid as a jellyfish. There's plenty of locations to choose from, and to say that they have a cult following would be an understatement. There will probably be a long line and no places to sit or eat on site, but don't let that stray you away. This place is well worth it. A single cheeseburger will start at $2.25, so it won't really cost that much to have a drunken nightcap meal here. You might be thinking, with so many beaches in Seattle, where's all the seafood? Po' boys, crab puppies, all sorts of these cooked creatures with a Northwest touch may be found at Emerald City Fish and Chips. This snug carry-out joint is a Seattle Black-owned business known for its mouth-watering cuisine, good service, and welcoming personnel. Right when you drive up, you'll get a hometown humble feeling in your stomach because this place isn't flashy at all. They let their food do the talking. Some of the food includes Alaskan cod, salmon, oysters, prawns, you name it. They keep things simple and they keep things tasty. This Columbia City morning staple reminds you of the satisfaction found in a well-cooked French toast and fluffy pancakes with a tinge of orange. All of this and more can be found at Geraldine's Counter Restaurant. They provide the best in Americana comfort food. Breakfast, brunch, and lunch, proudly supporting small, local vendors and a commitment to the finest and freshest ingredients. There's perfectly crisp hash browns, delicious biscuits, and toast on a side of almost everything. Breakfast is served all day in the kitchen, so you know they care. The cherry on top is they also serve a nice menu of cocktails, including margarita mimosas and a gin strawberry lemonade, just to name a few. But for real, get the French toast. It's mind-blowing. If getting served traditional Mexican by 2 people who have made it their life's mission to serve the best handmade tamales in Seattle, then Frelard Tamales is your place. They boast that their recipe has been passed down from generations and is now in the hands of these 2 artists who still make them from scratch to this day. They keep things simple and don't try to impress just for the sake of the show. They have a 1-page menu where they can serve either cooked tamales or uncooked tamales with cooking instructions for when you get home. Their selection offers savory meats for chicken or pork lovers to veggies and even vegans. Alright, that's all we have for restaurants, but we're gonna bring our friends back one last time to get some more local suggestions. Hey guys, just had to have you back one more time. We are on the restaurant portion of the video, and you are a foodie after all, so let's hear some of your favorite spots around Seattle.
In Capitol Hill part of Seattle, there's a place called Kedai Makan, which is a really good Malaysian restaurant. This place is so popular that they don't take phone calls in advance. You can't make reservations. You have to go up to their window and basically put yourself on a queue. And then the recent time we went to Kedai Makan, we actually waited to be sat down and it took 3 hours. So it just goes to show how popular this place is. Some really popular dishes that we definitely recommend is the nasi goreng. Nasi goreng, they have the Kedai version, which is the vegetarian version, and they also have a non-vegetarian version. They also have a roti jala, which is really good. It's like a netted bread that looks really unique when you look at the pictures. They also have another delicious dish called the mushroom pan mi. But something to note about Kedai Makan is they have a rotating menu. So sometimes you might see some, like for instance, the mushroom pan mi is not on the menu, but it might be there again a week later. But for the more classic Malaysian dishes like the nasi goreng, that tends to be on the menu more frequently.
All right, that sounds amazing. I honestly don't think I've had Malaysian food ever, so definitely got to check that spot out next time I'm in town. Do you have any more places to suggest for us today?
Yes, so in the international district part of Seattle, there are a variety of restaurants that you can find there. One very notable one is called Chun Rice Dogs. They specialize in really crispy Korean corn dogs. That's the first place I actually ever had my first delicious Korean corn dog experience, because you can do a really awesome cheese pull there. The outside is perfectly crispy, the flavor is on point. They coat the rice dog with sugar. There's a lot of sauces to dip it in, but there's a variety of flavors that you can choose from. You can choose a all cheese version, and you can also choose ones with just sausage or sausage and cheese. They even have a squid ink one. So when you look at it, it's like a shape of an octopus on the bottom that they shape the bottom of the sausage. And the coating itself is black, which is really cool. You might want to get there early in the day because they tend to have a long line whenever you go. But I was lucky the last few times I went, it was only about, I think, a 10-minute wait. And something to note is Chongchun isn't really a sit-down place. So if you feel like going to a more sit-down place, there's a hidden gem, I feel like, that's in International District as well, right next door, called Fort St. George. And you just go through a door and you have to go upstairs, and they serve Japanese comfort food. They have a variety of dishes such as Japanese-style spaghetti. They have a melon soda. They have something called doria, which is like a Japanese-style risotto or a hamburger steak that a lot of people are very curious about whenever they watch different anime series. So yeah, overall, when we went, it was a really nice experience. The ambiance was very nice as well, and I strongly recommend that place as well.
All right, well, thanks again. You two, once again, y'all killed it. So I appreciate y'all joining me today, and y'all have a good one.
Yeah, anytime, Jake. Thanks.
Anytime. Thanks, Jake.
Once again, you'll find a link to their profile down in the description below. Now, it's time to satisfy the addiction that's been on everyone's mind since the video began. No, we're not talking about hiking or driving your Subaru around. We're talking about that sweet, sweet caffeine. What better way to start your day than with a delicious and smooth coffee from Espresso Vivace? This spot is a popular stand-up coffee shop that serves pastries as well as meticulously selected, roasted, and brewed drinks. The mocha with homemade white chocolate sauce is a crowd favorite. If you're someone who hates that bitter and burnt aftertaste of espresso, then you'll enjoy this place. And if you do like the burnt aftertaste, then, well, go to a Starbucks or something. We're kidding. Please sponsor a Starbucks. We hope you saved room for dessert. If you're ever in Seattle, or even if you live here and haven't had the opportunity to visit Theo Chocolate and take the tour, it's highly recommended, especially for chocolate lovers. I mean, it's in the name. It's often said you can literally smell the chocolate from down the street when you're near this place. You can't go wrong with Theo's Chocolate, which comes in a variety of flavors and includes complimentary chocolate bars. But you're not just eating chocolate here. Oh no, this is a full-out Willy Wonka-style chocolate factory experience at only $12 a person and open daily. You'll get to live out every Oompa Loompa's fantasy and take a tour to where the magic happens. And just accept the fact that you're going to go home with 15 pounds of chocolate and hate yourself. The sooner you can accept that truth, the sooner you'll get your chocolate. And once you're done eating that chocolate, wake up from your nap coma and hit that nightlife scene in Seattle. When it comes to karaoke in Seattle, Rock Box is the obvious choice. This rocking Capitol Hill hangout is a Japanese-style club modeled after the popular private room or karaoke box format in Japan. The 12 boxes, which are inspired by Japanese craft and Tokyo lights, range in size from 2 to 14 seats, with a bigger party room that can hold up to 35 people. Songbirds arrive to browse a 2-decade-old songbook, which has over 30,000 English and 67,000 Japanese tunes. The booths are soundproof, so you can wail your little heart out with your friends without having to worry about missing that high note on loving you in front of complete strangers. This next pub is passionate about 2 things: craft beer and supporting the Seattle community. Flatstick Pub. They exclusively serve beer from small, locally owned breweries in the state of Washington. Here, all you have to do is sit back, play some games, chill, and have a good time. No karaoke necessary. In addition to mini golf, Flatstick has created its own original golf-themed games. Duffelboard is a tried and true game that can only be found here because the owner actually invented it. It's a real-life tabletop golf game that uses real balls and a handheld putter. The goal is to basically avoid the obstacles and get the ball in a hole. With 19 TVs, 36 taps, and a dozen games, this subterranean bar straight up looks like a man cave. Looking for a great brewery in Seattle? Look no further than Reuben's Brews. Their tap room is definitely one of the best in the city. Their stouts aged in bourbon barrels are outstanding and well worth finding out. Also, for a good lunch out, there's a great summer patio with food trucks. The tap room's rotating selection of beer will keep you coming back for more, whether you live here and it's a local spot, or if you want to hit it up multiple times on your trip. Beer flights, a killer patio, exposed fermentation vessels, and a tiny merch shop in the corner. Yep. You know that this place is legit. This next place may not look like much from the outside. Kinda like a pie. Dull, crusty, pie smelling, but everyone knows the inside of a pie is warm, sweet, and okay, who wrote this shit? Pie Bar, in the heart of Capitol Hill, is a sweets and cocktail specialist who are all about pie. Bring your sweet tooth for the half-dozen dessert pie types, which are proudly built on leaf lard crusts and their amazing richness and flakiness. We like that there's a blend of sweet and savory pies for whatever mood you're in. And let's not forget the cocktails, like the Apple Pie Mule with apple moonshine, key lime juice, and ginger beer, or the Butter Baby with butterscotch schnapps, hot chocolate, and cream. So if you like dessert mixed in with your night out, then this place is for you. Take a trip back in time to the speakeasy-inspired bar located 35 stories above Seattle, the Smith Towers Observatory Bar. It pays respect to Smith Towers' rum-running past and Chinese room history with a fascinating and exciting cuisine offering local favorites and handmade cocktails with a hint of prohibition. Smith Towers' in-house barrel-aged liquors may also take your favorite beverages to the next level. Barrel aging gives a unique depth of flavor to any cocktail, from a classic old-fashioned or Manhattan to other favorites on the menu. Much of the structure, which was built in 1914, still looks the same as it did a century ago. Visitors can sip on a myriad of cocktail classics, seasonal specialties, barrel-aged brews, and rare single malts and bourbons. It's a must-hit for cocktail aficionados in search of well-done cocktails dashed with lasting bitters. Well, that just about sums it up. Pinball, pie booze, overpriced sandwiches. Yep, I think we checked all the boxes of a classic Destinations Explained video. Whether you're visiting Seattle, Portland, or Vancouver, we have no doubt that visiting anywhere in the PNW is well worth it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And while you're at it, comment down below which destination we should do next.